Hey, welcome back to my channel, and in this video I'm going to break down the first of my 4 tracks on my EP, Anymore. It's a dark, liquid track about the story of a distraught girl who is ending her relationship after being cheated and lied to, and yeah, I'm going to give a brief background about the track. I started it in October and I knew I wanted to write a tune with some lyrics. I originally wrote the lyric for me to sing, but at that time I didn't know how to process vocals and it did not sound good with me singing over it. So I mentioned to a few of my friends that I was looking for a vocalist. My friend Max mentioned that Neshi, who I'd met at a few house parties, could sing. So I hit her up and she was down. So we did our first recording session before Christmas, and then I spent the majority of Christmas working on the vocals. So I don't know if you spotted it or not, but this little rascal in that last shot left me a little present under my desk, and I started smelling it. I didn't know what was going on, kind of lost track of my words. And I looked around, saw it was under there, picked it up, then I checked the footage, and it turns out she's doing it right in the shot as I'm speaking, as I'm doing the intro to the song. She is the littlest rascal. She's still a little puppy, so she's not fully house trained. But yeah, that is very, very funny, very, very silly. And now I'm gonna get on with the video. So back to what I was saying about Anymore. So after I'd got the first round of vocals recorded and I spent most of Christmas working on them, I then realised I wanted to make some improvements on the bass. So I did some good work with that and I tidied up the rest of the tune. Then after the second lockdown in mid-February, we met up again, Neshi and I, to record the rest of the vocals because I'd written a few more things and I needed some more harmonies. And then I brought that all together, put some final touches on the track, and then sent it off to Sam KDC, who mixed and mastered it for me. And yeah, then the track was done.
Right, welcome into the project file. I'm going to give a quick brief overview of the different layers, and then I'm going to play the track once and talk through it, and then I'm going to go into more depth into all the different layers. So you've got double kicks, snare, the perks with the main break, the ghost snares, the hats, then the bass here, the sub, the growl, the plucks, which has 2 layers, and the layers, which has the bright saw, the vocal swells, the soft plucks, a bit of background rain, and then the vocals, which has got a lot of automation going on. You've got the main vocals, you've got the Anymore vocal, you've got the backing vocals, and then you've got that long Anymore vocal, which happens in the second slowdown. So now I'm going to minimize these tabs. I'm going to play the track through once and just talk through it. So I want it to be quite a journey over the course of the whole track. So there's a lot of progression, especially in the vocal and the plucks. So you've got a little intro vocal setting the scene. The drums slowly coming in. Not anymore. And then the bass comes in. Bow. Wow. You get a first taste of the growls, but at a distance. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I look to the sky. So, yeah, I wrote all the vocals and then I got my mate Neshi to sing them. We've got the plucks coming in. Gave you everything and more. I gave it all. It's really the relationship between the plucks and the vocal, and then at points the bass, like in the first bass swell that's about to happen now. More ping pong echo on those moors. It's all crescendoing up with you more. The bass is really cutting through the top end. And that's really about the pluck and the growl. Wow. It was always you I adored. That's the only time that plays in the track. But not anymore. You know, she's over him. She's seeing the light at the end of the tunnel of this shit relationship, and no. There ain't no trust anymore. There ain't no love anymore. Those soft plucks. So you think that that's the big moment, that second drop, but then just builds even more. Need more, more. For the big bass crescendo, where the bass just swallows up every element and just becomes dominant. Those vocals seeming like they're surrounding you. Bang! I gave you everything and more. I gave it all. Yeah, I gave it all. You know, saying she couldn't have done any more. No. She. And that menacing pluck that comes in. Not anymore. Sorry for my singing. Not anymore. Then you got the pluck build up for the third drop. I do like this bit. I gave. Then the low vocal. More. Yeah, you know I gave it all. Bit of a menacing end. But not anymore. Echoing out the anymore. Then the pluck's coming through. Bass is out. Little vocal swell. You can hear the rain. Yeah, there's the track. Right, now let's break down the individual elements. Okay, start off with the kick. The kick's got two different layers. The attack and the body. Pretty self-explanatory. And then processing them all together. Compressor, a bit of saturation, bit of kick glue and trash, bit of sausage fattener. Then you got a little bit of kick punch here. No kick ambience, and then a little roll off on the top, making sure the bass is mono. Then move on to the snare. To be fair, because these are all audio clips, you know, I've done a lot of processing before exporting them as audio clips. So with this snare, there's not too much going on, just some extra bits and bobs, like bit of sausage fattener and a bit of reverb. Then coming down. Got the main break, which just really gives a lot of padding to the drums. Side chain to the ghost snare. Bring in the ghost snare. Obviously that's the snare, chopped up a little bit and at a lower volume and without the lows and some of the highs. Gives it that rhythm. And then the hats with a bit of chorus on them, and left and right on Pan Man to get them really in the corners, but also having them jiggle a little bit in the corners. So you've got the left and the right hat there jiggling. Don't know if it does much, but yeah, there we go. That's the main drum break. Pretty standard drum bass break. Nothing too special going on. You got some double kicks, some double snares at the end. You know, double snare and then a double ghost snare. And yeah, it's got a nice rhythm to it and plenty of automation going on, especially for example in the second bass swell here. You hear them slowly fade away like this, where the bass takes over, dominates everything, and then it comes back in. I've got quite a few nice little bring backs. Like here, you got this little, you know, just keeps it spicy. Here you got just a little, bap, bap. And then here you got another big one, like boom, cap, cap. And then you got like some other subtle things, like some like little games in oh, where can I find? Here we go. Oh no, that's just a drop in utility. Where is it? Ah, here we go. The mid verbs. Yeah. So at the you know, at the each end of each phrase, the mid reverb pops out just to give it a little bit of just a bit of distance and a bit of shimmer at the end of all those phrases. Right. So let's move on to the bass, which is quite varied throughout. So you got 4 different notes, rises and falls, E to G to C, and then down to B. Boom. That's the most powerful one. And I've done a little bit of inside automation here with the auto filter, so it's like always building. It always builds up, getting wider, boom, and then a little slide down at the start there to go boom, boom. Give it a little wang at the start. And there's a lot of automation going on. This is the main one here. The frequency is constantly opening and closing, and really the main bit for the bass is this build up here. A bit more erosion, auto frequency going up all the way till it takes over. I gave you everything more. You got stuff like the dry wet on the on all the side chaining cuts out, so the bass really cuts through. Let's go see what processing is going on here. Obviously you got Serum making the sound. It's a Reese bass, but I've made it have quite a lot of warmth to it. You got an EQ8 that's cutting out the lows because we've got the sub separate down there. Just bring down the volume a bit of low overdrive, bit of erosion, and then lots of side chaining going on to the kick, the snare, the growl, the vocals. But like some multi-band compression stuff. So it's the vocals are it's only getting dipped in the top end when the vocals cut in. The plucks in a certain region. Lots of multi-band stuff. So I'm not affecting the overall bass, but I want the other elements to cut through. Then the auto filter, which is doing a lot of work. 5 dB drive and constantly opening and closing. You can see it opening here. Yep, and then you got the sub with side chain to the kick, and then you got the overall bit glue compression, bit more saturation, bit more trash. What's going on here? Yeah, tape saturation. Just getting it fatter and fatter, and make sure the bass is mono. Then you got the growls, which are quite an important part of the track. Let's get them in. On the snares, wah, boom, wah, boom. Amp to get them dirty. To be fair, like 95% of the processing went on before it exported this audio clip. So this is just a little bit extra on the top. Bit more tape saturation, little compression to the snare, quite sharp side chain compression. ML distance, that's for the when you're bringing it in, give it a bit of distance so it can and coming. You can see it coming closer and closer. And then at the end, you got some echoing going on there. That's coming on from this growl echo, which plays a part. Echoing at the end. And you know, you got the growl cutting through the top end of the bass, so it really punches through, and it goes on those snares, so you know it really has a lot of wow, wow, wow. And then in the track you really hear a double echo afterwards, wow, 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 wow. And then the growl really combines nicely with the plucks. So let's chuck the plucks in, and you can see how they down, 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 wah, ba da bow, wah, ba da bow. Right, let's go and mute the bass and just listen to the plucks. So you've got two different parts. The low, harder hitting part, da-na-na, and the higher part, da-na-na, da-na-na. And you can really hear the sidechain compression to the growl. Sounds almost unnatural. Ba-na-bow, ba-na-bow. Here you can, without the growl being up there, you can hear what it sounds like a bit more naturally. And yeah, as with everything in this track, you know, it evolves over the time, and it's only repeated in literally that section there and that section there. I suppose these two as well. But you know, it varies over the course of the track. There's lots of different elements going on with the plucks. As with the vocal, the fact that it was really the plucks and the vocal that chat throughout the whole course of the song. And yeah, it's mainly going on in Serum with this one. And then there's a lot of group compression, like glue compression, sausage fattener, trash 2, satin saturation, and some side change to kick, snare, growl, and a little low cut. Now let's move on to the layers. There's just a lot of padding going on. You got some nice bright saw sounds. This doesn't really cut through too much, but it just really helps pad out that 1K region. Just some brightening going on, some mic band compression to the soft plucks. Have a bit down here. You've got the vocal swells, which just subtly help build to every single mini drop. That's just a reverb, reversed reverb from one of Neshi's vocals. Bit of rain, which is panning from side to side, photo pan. Reverbs, bit warmer, and the auto filters opening and closing just to bring it in and out. You can't really even hear that though. Then you've got the soft plucks, which only play in the build up, the middle build up, and then at the end. And to be fair, you can only really hear them right at the end of the tracks, or like just before the vocal drops, before the second drop. Right, and lastly we're going to break down the processing that goes into the vocal. Sorry for this blue thing here, it's just because I've had to freeze the vocals because they take up too much CPU. So let's go into the main vocal. Let me talk through what I like doing when processing vocals. So firstly, we've got the harmonies. So you've got the dry vocal, and then pan to the left and the right, you've got a high, a little altar boy pitched, formatted up 5 high, and then a low, which is format shifted down 5, and pan left and right. That adds width to the vocal, and also gives it pads it out a bit by having a pitched high and a pitched low. Here, let me play the vocal. Sounds ridiculous, by itself sounds utterly ridiculous. And then the low version, and then the super low sounds so ridiculous, but all together they sound great. Look, obviously the dry is much louder. You got this minus 10 dB, 15 dB, but those really help pad it out. Now moving on, just a little glue compression to get them glued together. Then you've got blanks. Don't chew that, my girlie. Then you've got compression. Blanks. What are you on about? What are you on about? What are you on? What are you on? What are you on? What are you trying to do, huh? Look at that. Then you got some compression. Right, then you got some correction. Right, next up you got some compression. Firstly, you got a vocal rider, which just helps smooth out the volume of the vocal. Then you've got my favorite de-esser on a female split band. Then you've got just some nice vocal compression, just to really get things all at the same volume. I also do a lot of work where I go in and I crop these clips and I adjust the volume to try and make them all of relatively similar levels before I go into the compression, which helps a lot. Then you got the saturation, you got some color sausage fattener, and then some decapitation on E is really nice as well. And then all dry wetted so that it's not too strong. Then you've got the delays and the verb. You've got just a dry delay, then you've got the verb, which all of these are automated. So that's what you see here. Firstly, you've got just a bit of utility gain, just boosting the volume. Then you've got the verbs, which sometimes rise in certain scenarios, and then the long ping pong here for the anymore, which starts only there and it ping pongs out. Then you've got the eighth delays and then the fast delays here, because what we're talking about here is only the main vocal. We don't have that long ping pong delay. We have the fast delay, which is Echo Boy 132 delay, and then that sidechain back to the vocal, as is the eighth delay, as is the reverb, which is a vocal hall on Valhalla, and yeah. That's really one of the most important parts of the vocal, and as you can see with all the different elements, there's a lot of automation going on as to how the vocal is changing and evolving, and how there's lots of different verbs and echoes over the top to try and make it sound as lush as possible. And yeah, I won't go through all the different vocals because I did that pretty much at the start, but yeah, it's an evolving story that I hope tells a story over the course of the song. And yeah, I hope you guys like it, and I think that is the end of the track. Peace out. Blanks. You can't do that. That's not allowed. That's not allowed.